Welcome back, this is part 5 from AngularDart tutorial. Please make sure to check the previous videos and let's get started. Before we start making the course detail here, we're going to take the card here, because the card here, as you can see, it goes really big and we can use it also for in the course detail. So I thought it may be better to take the card component and make it in a separate component so we can use it in any time and anywhere. So I will take the card component here, so I'll keep it like this. So I will make a new component. I will say this component will be course, or maybe just card component dart, and that should not be inside any of the courses, so it will be just outside. So I will keep it just inside the components here, and actually I will put it inside the card inside another directory. So I'll make a new directory called card, and I will take card component inside it, make a new file called card. So it goes to card component and say dart, and we will make card. So this is gonna be the card. This will gonna be course. So course card like this. So the course card component, so no need it like that, and the selector will be with underscore. So this gonna be course card to template. So actually the template will be just card, and my class will be course card, no ng in it. And yeah, that's it. So this one is this for the card, course card. And just to double check that the naming here, so put this one here, so the naming is okay. And now what we're going to do is first we're expecting the input. So input, that will take input from so this is a built-in and Angular. So if we're expecting an input from any elements or from any other components, so it will be passed here. We can give it a name also, so I will say this is kind of like selected, and that will be final course. And that's because this one is it might be this one is null, so we need to remove the final actually, and then we keep it like this. So we have a course and as a selected course. Now if you go to courses template, we will take the card from here, take just copy the card template, and then copy it, and then we use it here. So this is the card template. It will expect the course. We have this course inside the card template, so it's okay. And if we want to use the card component, we will go to the courses template or courses component, and here we have core directives, and we will use we need to have course card directive. And if we want to use it inside the template, we will just copy just comment this, and then we say course card, and where we bind the selected course is equal to my course. So let's see, and then refresh, and you can see that it goes with a problem, because I think that we don't have the some functions, so like delete item. So what we're going to do is also expanding the delete item from the card component. So we'll say delete item, and that will expect core string id, and then we'll do something with it. So now it will be succeeded, and it will should print our courses. So delete item, actually that's yes. So that's two-way binding, because we need to, this one is also comes from our course list, and that will be our course. So this will work here. Now if we click on delete, this is not gonna happen. Now we need to also to expand the function that OnDelete outside. In order to implement the OnDelete function here inside the card, because we separated the cards here, so first we'll go to courses template. So we use the courses card, like selected courses and with the courses, but we don't have, we didn't implement OnDelete, and OnDelete should be exposed by the card. So what we can do is actually make a function here. We say OnDelete, and that will be delete item, and then we will pass the course.uid. So inside I will take this out because I don't need it more. It's more readable. So we take the course UID from here. So because we loop through them, so we take the course UID, and also the OnDelete here, that's event binding. We will do it later. And then delete item will send the course UID to our courses component. So if we check the courses component, and we have OnDelete here, and then string with the UID, and that will remove the courses. Now in order to implement the OnDelete here, we need to use the streams. So we'll go for first to cart. We need to implement this something called streams that's inside Dart. And if you are not familiar with the streams, it's just easy as it is. We are not going to use the RxDart yet, but it's just a normal streams. So we define first our controller, and that should be final. So say final, and then we say this is kind of stream controller, and this will be should be a private. So we called it like delete controller, and that will be stream controller, and like this. So this the private, but what we expose is our output. So we'll use output Angular output, and we say OnDelete here, and what we need to expose is the stream. So we'll say stream. What we're going to do is take the name of the stream. So let's say it goes like OnDelete, and that will go wait, before we do OnDelete, we say get. So this is gonna be getter, and then say we take the controller, delete controller, and then expose the stream. So that's OnDelete here function. And here when we pass the delete item, so what we can do is take the delete controller and then say sync, and then add, for now we add null. So why we add null? Because we already added the stream and the stream string inside, and the ID string inside our template, so we don't need it to pass it here. So actually I'm gonna remove this also from here, and also go to cart HTML, and inside the delete I don't need to use any UID. So this will this will comes to here, so no errors. Try to delete, so, and it deletes very well. Right, now we're going to do the course detail. So first we're going to start by building the component. So we'll say course, and then detail component Dart, and that will bring our course. So we'll use the snips here, and we say course detail. So here we use the course detail as a selector here, and then for the class we just use course detail, and that will not implement for now. We don't do any implementation. So remove async, and we will use the template course detail, and then underscore, so I will use the underscore here, so underscore and template. So that will be our template course detail, and I will make it this one here. All right, so let's first let's make sure that is gonna work. So maybe put in paragraph and say course detail works. Now we need to implement the course detail in our app. So what we're going to do is going to routes and start a route path first. So we start making a new route for our course detail. So we'll say static, and we call this course detail. Again, the naming here is not important for the instance variable, and we will just say a route path, and here is our path. So actually the path will be, so we'll take the attribute path, and the path will be is a string, and then we use a string interpolation here, and we say we bring our courses path, and you say this bring me the path, and then we make cross like this, and then we need to bring the parameters. So the path parameter will be like in ID, or let's call it ID param, something like this. So ID param is just an integer, or maybe in string, so that's the same. Actually I will use a string here, is better, and then say ID param is equal to ID. So the idea is here that we make our path dynamic, so whatever that the courses will be passed, after the courses will be passed, and then the ID it will pick from the courses. And what we're going also to do here, we'll make another function outside of this class. So make this one is public, and we say just get me the ID, and that's what we'll take is take a string. So this is just extraction for the parameters, the ID from parameters. So we say parameters or params, and then we say final. So what I'm going to do is bring the ID, so say final ID, and then say parameters or params, and then we say give me the ID param, and we return the ID. So actually if I return the ID, this will make sure that the ID, but I will say otherwise return null. So if the ID exists, it will be returned, otherwise return null. Now we have our routes, and let's go to the routes. So register our routes in the route path in our routes, and what we're going to do is actually bring the first as the same as here. So we just bring this one and copy it, and we just say this one is gonna be course detail. So course detail is a route definition, the route path, and here we just say course, since this is also an static, so course detail. And now we need to bring the template for the route, and what we're going to do is, as always, like import, bring me the components, and inside the courses, course detail component dot template dot dart, and then we say this is gonna be the course detail template. Again, if you want to check about this from where this come from, so actually this is the compiled course detail component, and you can find this inside the Dart tool here. And yeah, this course detail component, and we change this with this one, so copy paste, and now we say bring me the course detail, and then ng factory. and that will bring ng factory for the course detail. And again here we need to register the course detail route, and now we have our route registered. So what we need to do is just the last step to make the routes working is by making the function inside the cart works. And I see that it's not working because this needs to be reload, because we have now a new route, so that needs to be reload. So the hot reloading is not gonna work. So now if we click on the view detail, this should brings us the course detail. And what we're going to do is go to the card first, and inside every card template, inside every card we have this view detail. So what we can do is make a click function here. So we say click and we say view detail, and that will just in function. This is not gonna take any argument, so we take the view detail and then we make our function inside the component. So we say void and then bring this function, and again we will use also the same not the same, I mean almost the same controller. So we will make a new controller for view details, and if you want to just copy it, and then we just say this will be a view detail controller, and that will be also an output. So we'll make a new output, and we will make on, maybe this function we call it on view detail, and that will be on view detail, and that will take our view detail stream. Again, this, if you want to fire the controller, we will just say, let's make space here so it's not readable. So if you want to fire the function, we will take the view detail controller, and then we say sync, and then we take add with, we can add null here. Again, why we add null here? Because it's not needed to take the course ID. Normally we take the course ID from here, but this will be handled from the component, the parent component that will be rendered the cart component. So if we go to courses, and again in the HTML here, and actually this is the core, not courses, this courses, yes. So we have now a new function, and that's called on view detail, and that will take view detail again, and that will pass the course UID. So again we need to make this function inside the courses component. So wait, so copy and then go to courses component. Now we have view delete, and then we can just say void and view detail, and now we need to say this will take a string with a UID. So that's good. Now we have the UID. We need to get the ID from params actually. So let me check. So we have the courses. What we need to do is start navigation, and that's what we'll do, is taking the ID and then pass the ID to the navigation. So there is two ways actually. We have the ID here. What we need to do is actually to get the course and pass the course, the whole course, to the detail component. But what we can do, because we pass this just string just the ID of this course, what we can do is bring the whole course, and that's what we'll say that we need the selected course, and that will be this course. So we will not pass the ID, the course ID will pass the whole course to the function, and now via the navigation we will send the whole course to the detail page. Now first what we're going to do is, after injecting the course inside the view detail function, we just say selected here, and we just say this is a course. Since we don't have the selected instance, so we're going to create this instance, and we say final course, or maybe it's not final, so we'll make just a course and then say selected. So the selected is type of course, so now we have our course, and what we're going to do is inside the view detail is we return router. Again, we don't have router, so router is a surface. We will inject this surface shortly, and then we'd say dot navigate, and that's a function inside the router surface. And what we're going to do is actually I will just make a new function here. I just say extract ID, and then so extract ID is a function that we will extract the ID from parameters, and we just say selected UID. So let's make this function also. So we'll say string extract ID, and that's what we'll do. Actually, it will take the string UID, or ID is the same, and what it will return, so it will take the route path, and then it will check course details. So that's what we did, so our route, and then we say to URL, and here we will pass parameters, and the parameters should be the same as we did, and you can see the which parameters we have to use. So the parameter should be ID param, and then that will pass our parameters like this. Again, we can use the interpolation here, because this one is a string. So that's the extraction for ID. Now we need to inject the router surface, so we make we'll say a course component, and we will say that will bring us the this say router. So we don't have the router surface yet, so what we're going to do is make a final router surface. So this will be the router, and we call it router like this. So since this router is not normally we don't define the router, so normally if any surface injected into a component, we will have to provide it in the provider's array, but the router, it will be injected inside the parent component, which is the app, so we don't need to include this one. And that's for the router. So we will do router navigate. So I see that's a problem here. Extract ID is correct, and selected is UID. Let me see, extract local variable. Yeah, because I'm returning void, so it's not gonna be void, it's gonna be future, and that will gonna be a navigation result. So this will return a navigation result. If are we going to test this out, so it's gonna be like I will refresh this for you. So I will click on view detail and click here, and you see that it gets the ID 111, and and you see that the course detail template works. So if I go back and click on the next course, and then you see the ID is injected. So that's exactly what we want. And what here we're going to do is trying to retrieve the ID and then retrieve the course from. That's it for this part. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.